The phone jolted me awake at 2:17 a.m., its piercing ring cutting through my restless sleep. The screen glowed with an unfamiliar number, and my stomach clenched as I answered. A steady, professional voice introduced herself as Dr. Patel from St. Mary's Hospital. "Your wife, Emily, was admitted about an hour ago," she explained, her tone calm but urgent. "She was discovered unconscious in a motel room." Her words slammed into me like a blow, scattering every thought in my head. Emily, a motel. My voice stumbled over a reply as I said I was on my way. My hands trembled as I grabbed my keys and rushed out into the freezing night. The drive was a blur of streetlights streaking past, my mind spinning with questions. Emily had told me she was working late, finishing a big project at her marketing job. We'd been married 7 years, sure, not everything was perfect, but whose marriage is? I thought I knew her. But a motel? That didn't fit with the life we built. Our quiet home in the suburbs, weekend hikes, her laugh over morning coffee. My grip tightened on the steering wheel as I tried to focus on the road. But all I could picture was her face and the nagging thought of what I had missed. At the hospital, the harsh fluorescent lights stung my eyes as a nurse led me to the ER. Emily lay on a curtained bed, pale but awake, and fore dripping into her arm. Her wide eyes flickered with fear and shame. "Tom," she whispered, her voice fragile. 1,000 questions fought to escape. Why there? Who with? But they stuck in my throat. Instead, I took her cold, shaking hand and asked if she was okay. She gave a small nod, but her gaze refused to meet mine. Dr. Patel pulled me aside, her face kind but serious. Emily had been found by a motel maid, showing signs of a drug overdose. They'd given her Narcan and she was stable, but she needed to be kept under observation. An overdose. The word didn't feel real. Emily didn't use drugs, or at least, I thought she didn't. She enjoyed her wine now and then, but this? I looked at her lying there, and it felt like I was staring at a stranger. The doctor asked if I'd noticed stress or changes in her behavior. I shook my head, numb, realizing how little attention I'd paid. Back at her side, Emily finally spoke in a whisper. She admitted she'd been struggling. Work pressure, sleepless nights, and a friend had offered her something to help take the edge off. She swore it was her first time, a mistake she never meant to spiral this far. She never explained the motel, and I didn't press. Not yet. I just sat holding her trembling hand, trying to reconcile the woman I married with the one before me. The hospital buzzed around us, machines beeping, nurses murmuring, but I barely noticed. When they moved her to a room upstairs, I stayed by her side, even as exhaustion pulled at me. My mind replayed the past few months, her late nights at the office, the quiet moods, the way she'd gently push me away when I tried to hold her. I had brushed it off as stress, life, but now I wondered, had I missed something bigger? Was there someone else? The motel question lingered like a shadow I wasn't ready to face. I watched her sleep, torn between relief and dread. Morning light crept through the hospital window, heavy and gray. Emily looked stronger, more alert, but the tension between us was unbearable. "I'm sorry," she whispered, her voice breaking. "I never wanted you to see me like this. I wanted to be furious, to demand the truth. But instead there was only emptiness." I finally asked about the motel, my tone steady despite the knot in my chest. She hesitated, then said she'd gone there to be alone, to think, to escape. The friend, she insisted, was just that, a friend who had given her the pills. I didn't know if I believed her, but I nodded, too drained to argue. That afternoon, she was discharged with a counselor's referral and a warning about the dangers of addiction. We drove home in silence, the weight of the night pressing down like a storm. She went straight to bed, and I sat in the living room, staring at the walls of a house that suddenly felt far too empty. My mind kept circling back to that motel room. What it looked like, why she was there, whether someone else had been with her. The questions gnawed at me, but I held them back. Not while she was still so fragile. In the days that followed, Emily acted as if nothing had happened, making coffee, asking about my day, but it all felt rehearsed, like we were both pretending. Sometimes I caught her staring out the window, her face unreadable. I wanted to trust her, to believe the story she'd given me, but doubt had already taken root. I noticed small things, her phone always face down, the quick glances when I entered the room. One night, guilt eating me alive, I checked her messages while she slept. Nothing obvious, just vague texts from a coworker named Lisa. But it didn't quiet the unease. We never brought up the motel again. Emily started seeing a therapist, saying she was trying to sort things out. I told myself I was trying too, but the truth was harder. That phone call from the hospital had split something open between us. We'd been drifting for a long time, living side by side without really seeing each other. Now I didn't know if it was just the pills, the motel, or something deeper. What I didn't know was that we couldn't return to what we had before.